Hi, and welcome back to the Inside of My Head, where I'm doing a couple of videos on the creatures of Singular Point. Now, this video has been done a few times before by bigger channels, but I think that there's a few things that I can throw into the mix, as well as my own personal take on the re-envisioned creatures. My opinions matter too. The first thing to note about GSP's monsters is that it's mentioned in the show that it's thought that they are hybrid creatures that have inherited traits from existing creatures and are able to actively rewrite their DNA systems, and this is how they are able to evolve. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And let's take a look at the creatures and their evolutions, where applicable, of course. And let's start with Rodan.
MrNormalPerson, he's completely normal.
Perhaps the most radical and perhaps controversial of the creature redesigns, Rodan has taken a big step into dinosaur territory. Now, he's always been kinda based on a pteranodon, but this is the most literal take yet. He's shrunk down a bunch too, and they have turned the vibrancy all the way up to 11 with his pink color. And initially, I have to admit, the design instantly turned me off. The double-horned crest on the top of his head was gone, replaced by a single stabilizing fin much more akin to a pterosaur, and the same goes for its beak, this time it looking much more like it had evolved for scooping fish out of the sea, rather than what has come before. Any notion of it being a fire monster was gone, and it's pretty clear that there's no way that this thing is going to be able to do the supersonic shockwave wing attack that we all love. Overall, it just seemed like a less aggressive and intimidating design. The only thing they seemed to keep were these belly spikes, which I always thought were pretty fucking weird anyway. Like, they reminded me of when a dog has puppies and they get these little milkers to feed their litter. And I always wondered why this satanic devil bird has got nipples. Over time, of course, I came to realize that these things are actually a protection for a soft, vulnerable part of its body, much like people used to put spiked collars on fighting dogs to protect their throats. Wait, how do these even work? Oh god, they're not for a dog at all, are they? The design did grow on me though. In its next evolution, Rodan got even smaller, more earthy in color tone, and there were suddenly swarms of them. I think that swarms of shit are definitely my least favorite type of shit. You know, like schools of shit, no problem. Flocks of shit, no problem. But anytime swarms, get it the fuck away from.
I think technically the Rodans would be a flock though, wouldn't they? Because they're birds.
Oh yes! Well, thank you for completely invalidating what I was saying, Dave!
My pleasure.
Which was something I had never seen before. In the original Rodan movie from 1956, there are two of them featured at once, but as far as I know at least, there's never been a swarm like this. But at least with this second generation of GSP Rodan, doubled horned crest was back at least. I also noticed that this form of Rodan was pretty easy to kill. There's a part in episode 12 where the military are able to just take a few of them down with only machine gun fire, and Jet can pretty much go through them like butter with the Spear of Anguirus. So I have very mixed feelings about this fan favorite being treated just as cannon fodder now. Then later we see its third form, which is almost flat black, and it's much bigger, and while still very pteranodon-like, this one is emitting fire and ash and even shows its ability to fire out an energy blast from its mouth. Anyway, as you probably know, Godzilla cuts it down pretty quick, and then it disappears. My personal theory is that it turned back into archetype and evaporated into red dust, but, you know, who knows. So like I said, this guy grew on me, but I'm still not completely loving it. What would have solved this for me is if we were just given a proper fight between Godzilla and this guy, and that way we could have seen what it was actually capable of. But, you know, here's hoping for season 2.